The alliance between Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy stands as one of the most complex and ultimately dysfunctional partnerships of World War II. What began as an ideologically motivated union between two authoritarian regimes evolved into a lopsided relationship marked by military failures, ideological divergence, mutual distrust, and eventual betrayal. Formalized through the Rome-Berlin Axis and later the Pact of Steel, this alliance became more a liability than an asset, especially for Italy. German-Italian cooperation originated from the diplomatic isolation both nations faced in the mid-1930s. Mussolini's invasion of Ethiopia in 1935-36 led to League of Nations sanctions, pushing Italy toward Germany, which had already become an international pariah following Hitler's rise to power and repeated treaty violations. This shared status as outcasts laid the foundation for the Axis. Fascism and Nazism, despite fundamental differences, appeared ideologically aligned, which encouraged cooperation. Hitler admired Mussolini as a pioneer of fascism, while Mussolini, though initially cautious of Germany's strength, saw the alliance as a means to pursue imperial ambitions and safeguard Italy from potential German aggression. The Rome-Berlin Axis 1936 and Pact of Steel 1939 formalized the partnership. Yet, both regimes sought expansionist aims without compromising their autonomy, a contradiction that would plague the alliance throughout the war. When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, Italy remained neutral, citing a clause in the Pact of Steel limiting military obligations to defensive wars. Mussolini understood Italy's military and economic unpreparedness and aimed to enter the war at a moment of advantage. This opportunism proved disastrous. Germany's rapid victories in Western Europe during spring 1940 convinced Mussolini the war would end swiftly. Eager not to miss out on territorial gains, he declared war on Britain and France in June 1940, a decision famously condemned by Roosevelt as a stab in the back. Far from showcasing strength, the move exposed Italy's strategic dependency on German success. Italy's military shortcomings became apparent immediately. Its armed forces relied on outdated equipment, suffered from poor coordination, and lacked industrial depth. In contrast, Germany fielded mechanized divisions supported by advanced tactics. The disparity turned the alliance into a logistical and strategic burden for Germany. Italy's independent campaigns repeatedly ended in failure, forcing German rescue operations. Mussolini's invasion of Greece in October 1940, launched without informing Hitler, was a prime example. Italian forces were swiftly repelled, compelling Germany to intervene in the Balkans in spring 1941. Though successful, this campaign delayed Operation Barbarossa, contributing to its eventual failure by exposing German troops to the Russian winter. Similar patterns emerged in North Africa. Italian advances soon stalled, and Germany dispatched the Afrika Korps under Rommel. While initially effective, the campaign ultimately drained resources better used on the Eastern Front. Despite superficial similarities, fascism and Nazism diverged significantly. Italian fascism, though authoritarian, lacked Nazism's systematic racial ideology. This gap was particularly evident in the treatment of Jews. Italian officials often resisted or delayed anti-Semitic policies. Cultural and military tensions deepened the rift. German officers viewed Italians as undisciplined and ineffective, while Italians resented German arrogance and cultural insensitivity. The personal dynamic between Hitler and Mussolini deteriorated as well. Initially built on mutual admiration, their relationship shifted into one of subordination, with Hitler increasingly treating Mussolini as a junior partner, a dynamic that wounded Italian pride. The economic imbalance mirrored the military and political disparity. Germany required Italian raw materials and labor, while Italy depended on German technology and industrial goods. As the war turned against the Axis, German demands escalated. Italy was compelled to send hundreds of thousands of workers to German factories, undermining its domestic economy and stoking popular resentment. Italy's industrial base, while considerable, could not match Germany's output. Technical incompatibilities, transportation issues, and political instability hindered integration of war production. Italy's role increasingly resembled that of a satellite state. By 1943, Italy's war effort had collapsed. Allied victories in North Africa and the invasion of Sicily brought the conflict to Italian soil. Mussolini was deposed in July, and the new government under Marshal Badoglio sought a separate peace. Following the September 8th armistice, Italy declared war on Germany on October 13, 1943. Germany responded with Operation Axis, swiftly occupying Italy, disarming Italian forces and establishing the Italian Social Republic under a rescued Mussolini. This puppet regime wielded little actual power. Italian soldiers who resisted German authority were executed or deported for forced labor. Others joined the burgeoning resistance. From a military standpoint, the German-Italian alliance was counterproductive for Germany. Italian defeats in Greece, North Africa and the Balkans forced constant German interventions. The Italian navy, despite its size, failed to dominate the Mediterranean, allowing Allied forces to land and advance. Fuel shortages, poor strategy and inadequate coordination rendered the fleet ineffective. Economically, Italy contributed little to the German war machine. Its industrial efforts were poorly integrated and eventually disrupted by occupation. By 1943, Italy had become a liability rather than an asset. Intelligence cooperation was minimal and often dysfunctional. Both countries maintained separate agencies with conflicting agendas. German services frequently acted independently in Italian zones, while Italian intelligence was largely excluded from critical operations. Strategic planning was similarly fractured. Major initiatives, such as Mussolini's Greek campaign and Hitler's invasion of the USSR, were launched unilaterally, undermining collective coordination and contributing to Axis failure. These failures stemmed from deeper mistrust. Each partner sought independence while expecting unconditional support, rendering effective cooperation impossible. Italy's 1943 declaration of war against Germany marked a total reversal. Former allies now engaged in open combat. Italian units fought alongside the Allies in the campaign to liberate their own country, while the German military treated Italy as occupied territory, suppressing resistance with brutal force. The transformation was both symbolic and strategic. Though Italy's military contributions were limited by exhaustion and inadequate resources, their alignment with the Allies signaled a repudiation of fascism and the Axis project. Italian partisans, alongside Allied forces, increasingly harassed German troops. The Wehrmacht now faced resistance both from regular armies and civilian fighters. The German position in Italy weakened steadily. Mussolini's final meetings with Hitler in 1945 reflected the degradation of their alliance. No longer equals, the Italian leader begged for support Germany could not provide. Their last encounter, just weeks before both their deaths, epitomized the failure of fascist unity. The German-Italian alliance exemplifies the instability of ideological coalitions between unequal partners. Despite shared authoritarianism, divergent capacities and national interests made meaningful cooperation elusive. Rather than enhancing each other's strategic positions, the alliance amplified existing weaknesses. Hitler and Mussolini's partnership, once presented as a model of fascist solidarity, degenerated into a toxic imbalance defined by coercion, mistrust, and eventual betrayal. The collapse of their alliance underscores the fragility of partnerships built on mutual ambition but lacking mutual respect or capability alignment.